A pleasant day to all our law students across the Philippines. I am Kyle Roger Agadan from PUP College of Law. Welcome to the Central Book's Best Pre-Week Ever. Our pre-week bar lecture series is a discussion of all the codal provisions and recent jurisprudence as decided by the Supreme Court. This is presented to you by Central Books in partnership with the Philippine Association of Law Schools, Polytechnic University of the Philippines, PUP College of Law, and Association of Law Students of the Philippines, National. This is just one of our many lectures for Central Book Best Pre-Week Ever lecture series, as we have also those for political and public international law, commercial law, taxation law, criminal law, civil law, labor law, and legal and judicial ethics with practical exercises. All this happening in September 2024. Please like and follow the Facebook page of Central Books to remain updated with the dates and speakers for each program. We would also like to recognize our main sponsors for these initiatives, Central Books, and our main collaborators, PALS, PUP College of Law, and ALSP National. Let me introduce our esteemed lecturer today for Legal and Judicial Ethics. Attorney Erickson H. Balmes is a seasoned legal professional with extensive experience in both the public and private sectors. He served as Deputy Insurance Commissioner at the Insurance Commission from 2019 to 2023 and was previously an Undersecretary at the Department of Justice. Attorney Balmes has authored several books, including Insurance and Pre-Need 555 and Ethics 300. He holds advanced degrees in Cybersecurity and Disaster Risk and Crisis Management from the Asian Institute of Management. His career includes various high-level roles, such as University Legal Counsel at Batangas State University and chairperson of the Technical Working Group of the Philippines Catastrophe Insurance Facility or PCIF. Attorney Balmes is also a recognized educator and a bar reviewer, contributing to numerous academic institutions and bar review centers across the Philippines. Let us all welcome Attorney Erickson H. Balmes.
Good day everyone, I'm Professor Eric Balmes and welcome to this special edition lecture for Legal and Judicial Ethics for the 2024 bar exams. I am thankful to Central Bookstore and to PALS for giving me this opportunity to share my knowledge with you on this topic. This lecture is taken from my latest work, CIPRA 500, soon to be published with Central Bookstore. So if whatever we do not finish in the next 2 hours of our discussion, you can find the completion with CIPRA 500 authored by yours truly, available at Central Bookstore. So, we are going to discuss the JLaw bar, and these are bits and pieces, including my insights on Justice Lopez because he was my professor in criminal law review. So we begin, and our takeaway number 1 for life is this. And I hope you will remember this. A bar candidate who kneels before God can stand up to anything. And this is one post of a friend that I really love, and it goes like this. It is said that the devil smiled when he saw me on my knees, thinking I'm about to give up, and then I said amen. And that is our mindset. So we shared this prayer with you, my prayer when I was taking the bar. Heavenly Father, you know all things, you can do all things, and you love us very, very much. Amen. We offer this whole exercise to you for your greater glory, sa iyong higit na kaningningan, sa iyong higit na kabunyian. For all that is missing, for all that is lacking, in Jesus' mighty name, we simply pray. Please fill in the gaps, please fill in the blanks. Okay? So on that note, we begin. And J-Lo the Prof, my prof, and your chairperson is Mr. Kodal. Kodaliors yan eh. Kaya para sa akin, we will point out which part of the CIPRA you might want to really focus on. But these are the non-negotiables. When I say non-negotiables, do not go to the bar exam without knowing the following. And this applies to all your subjects. If you're taking political law, do not go to the bar exam without knowing what is political law, what is constitutional law, what is admin law, what are the definitions of the component subjects. What is commercial law, what is negotiable instrument, what is insurance. Okay? Yan yung mga hindi mo ine-expect pero malelip-hook ka pag naitanong na. In our subject, that will be what is legal ethics. Okay? Legal ethics is that branch of moral science that treats of the duties or the fourfold duties that a lawyer will owe to society, to the bench, to the bar, and to the public. And to the client. Society or public, bench, bar, or client. So if you're gonna be asked what are the 4 pillars of legal ethics, you just paraphrase the definition and you say it pertains to the 4 duties that a lawyer must dutifully discharge in favor of the society or the public, the bench, the bar, and the client. Okay? So it's society, the bench, the bar, and the client. The dynamics of the 4 duties is all things being equal, you are forced with a choice between duty to society and duty to the client, and the client wants you to do something illegal or unethical or violative of the oath, you let go of the client and you will not suffer any liability. Okay? Next, the anchorage of the SC supervision over the legal profession, that is part of your coverage, that is the 1987 Constitution, Article 8, Section 5, Paragraph 5, which provides that the Supreme Court has the power to promulgate rules pertaining to pleadings, practice, procedure, admission to the bar. In all of those areas, the power of the Supreme Court is sole and exclusive. In Reconanan, Congress cannot pass a law on the bar exam percentage. In Re Garcia, the President cannot enter into a treaty allowing non-Filipino lawyers to come and practice in the Philippines by virtue of reciprocity. In Re Garcia, when you pass the bar, no need for you to take additional exams or comply with additional requirements to practice. Because that is the gist of In Re Garcia. PLA versus Agraba. In PLA versus Agraba, Director Agraba required Filipino lawyers who want to practice patent law before his office to take additional exams. Sabi ng Supreme Court, upholding the challenge of PLA, no need for that. Okay? Kasi hindi na yan kailangan dahil when you pass the bar, admitted to practice in the Philippines, you are authorized to practice before any court or agency exercising quasi-judicial function. And that is found in your diploma which you will get from the Supreme Court. Nakalagay yan doon. Now, speaking of the Sharia bar, which was just released a few weeks ago, Sharia bar passers are not entitled to use the title attorney in Re Alauya. Sharia bar passers can practice before Sharia bar, but the title attorney is a bit technical. It is reserved only for those who, having passed the bar, admitted thereto, are allowed to practice before any court or agency exercising quasi-judicial functions. Now, supervision over the legal profession is an enclave of the Supreme Court. However, do take note, for legal education, the supervision of legal education is not a judicial but an executive function. Basis for this is the landmark case of Pimentel versus Legal Education Board, September 10, 2019. This case ruled on the PhilSat exams. At dyan sinabi ng Supreme Court categorically that the supervision of legal education in the country is not within the realm. It's an executive, it's a function of the executive branch. Next, what is judicial ethics? another non-negotiable. Huwag kang pupunta sa exam nang hindi mo alam yan. Lalo pa naman, at si chairperson natin ay somebody who rose from the ranks of the judiciary. Nag-RTC yan doon sa amin sa province of Batangas, and then after that, naging CA, and then ngayon, the pinnacle of his ascent to the judiciary, he is now a Supreme Court Justice and a chairperson no less. So, what is judicial ethics? It is that branch of judicial science or moral science, that branch of moral science, which treats of the duties and responsibilities expected to be faithfully discharged by any member of the judiciary. Okay? Or the body of laws, rules, and regulation expected to be faithfully followed by any member of the judiciary. That is judicial ethics. And for judicial ethics, I will have what I call the Gulat effect. When I say Gulat effect, yan yung kasi yung chairperson, yung nangyari doon sa norte, sa Bamban, dahil nagkaroon ng issue sa citizenship, plus, tingin ko mababalik yan. At sa judiciary, meron niyang issue. The Filipino citizenship as a requirement for appointment to the judiciary, that will be the case of Kilos Bayan versus Ermita, decided 2007 on the matter of the issue against Justice Gregory Ong. In this case, the first part provided that the court rules in favor of petitioners Kilos Bayan and Bantay Katarungan, granting an injunction against Gregory S. Ong's appointment as Associate Justice of the Supreme Court until he can prove his natural-born Filipino citizenship through appropriate adversarial proceedings in court. Eventually, the case metamorphosed into a ruling that the Supreme Court said that Gregory Ong of Sandigan Bayan is not natural-born Filipino citizen and thus is not qualified for appointment to the Supreme Court. Kasi pagka mga higher-ups na, Court of Appeals, Supreme Court, natural-born. The attorney version of the Gulat, nagulat tayong lahat dyan, is this case. Application for admission to the Philippine Bar, Vicente D. Ching. Mr. Ching took and passed the bar. However, at the time of his passing the bar, he has yet to elect Filipino citizenship. Sabi ng Supreme Court, 14 years of waiting is not really manifestation of the desire to become Filipino. Parang nag-elect ka lang para lamang ikaw ay mabigyan ng privilege to become a member of the bar. Kasi hindi ka pwedeng payagan kung hindi ka Pilipino. And may pahayag ang Supreme Court tungkol sa sino mang gustong maging Pilipino at nabigyan ng pagkakataon. You have to elect at the soonest possible time. Philippine citizenship can never be treated like a commodity that can be claimed when needed and suppressed when convenient. One who is privileged to elect Philippine citizenship has only an inchoate right to such citizenship. As such, you should avail of the right, elect the right with fervor, bilisan mo, enthusiasm, and promptitude. Waiting for 14 years is something that is bereft of fervor, enthusiasm, and definitely lacking in promptitude. Then we now go to the SIPRA. The SIPRA or 22-901-SC. I am going to show to you what I feel are the battleground topics. Ito ang paglalabanan natin dyan. Unang-una, the 2023 Lawyer's Oath, also known as the Revised Lawyer's Oath. Bakit kanyo? Well, gut feel yan. Unang-una, first time itong itatanong sa bar. Ang SIPRA, last year, hindi yan categorical coverage. Ngayon, kasama yan. Pangalawa, kung hindi mo sa ulado ang Lawyer's Oath, huwag ka magbabar. Wala kang karapatang maging abogado. Okay? So it will be us, at saka sabi ko naman sa inyo, si Justice Lopez, Codally yours yan, nung nahawa na sa aming mga Batanggenyo, ang sabi na sa klase, kung hindi nyo may ibigay ang Codal sa akin, hindi tayo magkakasundo. Paano ko kayo ipapasa? And there can be nothing as Codally yours in the SIPRA than the Lawyer's Oath. So you have to know this. Okay? Ngayon, ang tingin ko naman, mahigit kayong 11,000, kung itatanong yan, maduduling ang mag-check. Kaya another way of asking it, class, and I have seen this. This one has been asked in the bar at least twice in my review of past bar exams. Okay? Ang sunod niyan, another way of asking it is by fill in the blanks. Paano? Ako'y gumawa for 5 points. The lawyer's oath, may mga blanco. Fill upin mo yan. Kasi mas madali yung checkan eh. Diba? Pero either way, by this time, dapat alam na ninyo yung revise na yan. Okay? And every day, stand in front of the mirror, recite the lawyer's oath. Gusto ninyo, mag-bathrobe pa kayo para kayong feeling ay nakapasa na. You have to attract it. You have to visualize it. Sabi nga sa commercial ng isang vitamins, what the mind can conceive, the body will achieve. Now, after knowing this and you are going to use this to resolve the questions based on the CIPRA, there is another lawyer's oath shortcut. And the lawyer's oath shortcut is one which eventually became or adopted as the IBP motto, a legacy of the Venerable Justice J.B.L. Reyes. Ang kanyang sinabi, a lawyer must have no master but law, no guide but conscience, and no aim but justice. That is the lawyer's oath summarized version. In so doing, we lawyers must have no master but law, no guide but our conscience. And our ultimate aim is justice. When a lawyer takes the lawyer's oath, what is the effect of such taking the oath under the CIPRA? This is found under the preamble. By taking the lawyer's oath, a lawyer becomes, number 1, a guardian of the law and an administrator of justice. Please be mindful of that. Ano ngayon, sir? Ibig sabihin, merong mga expectations. Kasi ang CIPRA, the closest thing I approximate that to is the promise of Uncle Ben to Peter Parker sa Spider-Man, di ba? Ang pagiging abogado ay napakagandang karangalan. But with great power comes great responsibility. Okay? Kaya, as being a guardian of the law, may mga expectations sa atin. Number 1, a lawyer shall observe the highest degree of morality. Number 2, he must adhere to rigid standards of mental fitness. And number 3, he must faithfully comply with the rules of the legal profession. Okay? So, tatlo yan. When you take the oath, what are the expectations? What do you become? A guardian of the law. And these are the expectations. Kung hindi, ano ngayon, kung hindi ako sumunod, then sinasabi rin ng CIPRA. The failure to honor the covenant, and take note, the lawyer's oath has been elevated. It's not a mere oath, not a mere empty ceremony, drip and hollow, rather a solemn undertaking. And by solemn, hindi lang siya mere oath, ginawa siyang covenant, a sacred agreement. Ang alam ko, dadalawang covenant na alam ko yung covenant of God with His people and the covenant between husband and wife in the sacrament of marriage. Ito yung patatlo. The covenant between the state which granted you the privilege to practice law, and you, the one who is promising that for the rest of your life till death or disbarment do you part, you will practice ethically. So, if you fail to do that, you will be determined unfit to continue in the practice of law, and you will be held accountable to society, to the courts, to the legal profession, and to the client. What is the nature of the lawyer's oath? Then and now, this is what I will tell you. It is not an empty ceremony, drip and hollow. Rather, it is a purely personal undertaking. Why so? Well, it goes back to the time that I took the bar exams in 2002. Kaya paalala ko sa inyo, pag nakapag-bar na kayo, huwag kayo makipag-away sa kalye, iwasan nyo ang road rage, iwasan nyo yung mga galit sa karsada. That is what happened. After we took the bar, one of my contemporaries, a law student like me, an attorney in waiting, had a traffic altercation in Buendia. It became heated. Nabaril siya, patay. Lumabas ang resulta, pasado kami, February 28, 2002. Okay? February 28, 2003. I'm sorry. The parents wrote a very emphatic letter to the Supreme Court saying, we lost a son, baka po naman pwede kami makakuha ng lawyer's oath on his behalf para lang po magka-closure. Can we take the lawyer's oath on behalf of our dead son? The Supreme Court, while understanding the pain of the parents, had to respectfully decline. You know why? By nature, it's a purely personal undertaking. It cannot be taken for and on behalf of another person. Kaya nga sa ULIP versus Legal Aid Clinic, a corporation cannot practice law because hindi siya nakakuha ng bar. Kasi there are three things that must happen before you become a lawyer. You have to pass the bar, you have to take the oath, you have to sign the roll. These three things must be done, achieved by you in progression. Una muna, ipasa mo ang bar. You do not say you take the bar. Hindi ka pasado niyan. You have to pass the bar. You have to take the oath. And you have to sign the roll. Kung hindi ka nakakuha ng tatlo, hindi ka ganap na abogado. Under the CIPRA, a lawyer is, ideally ethical by personal choice. Ideally ethical by personal choice. So either you have it or you don't. Okay? So who is an ethical lawyer? An ethical lawyer is somebody with integrity. Okay? And what is integrity under the CIPRA? Integrity is the sum total of all the ethical values that every lawyer must embody and exhibit. So what does the CIPRA demand of lawyers? Obedience. There has to be obedience. Without it, there will be repercussions because you will be accountable. What is the driving force or the objective behind the CIPRA? The CIPRA was written because it was envisioned to foster an environment where ethical conduct performs a dedicated role in the administration of justice. There can be no proper administration of justice if there is no ethical conduct. Ethical conduct is like the spoke of the wheel that keeps everything together. If there is to be proper administration of justice, if there is to be hope for the lost, the last, and the least, to find in the courts of justice a sanctuary, an oasis. So a lawyer is expected to manifest the following pillars of ethical conduct. Baka itanong yan sa inyo, what are the pillars of ethical conduct? There will be independence, that's number 1. Number 2 will be integrity. Number 3 will be impartiality. Number 4 will be propriety, then equality, and competence and diligence. If you do not have it, number 1, independence. Number 2, integrity. 3, impartiality, propriety, equality, competence, and independence. What happens? The Canon 6 will now come into play. Okay? The effect of the failure to manifest by the lawyer, any one of them, or the failure to comply with the pronounced requirements of each one will result in the application of Canon 6, accountability. Tinanong ako dati ng mga tao, mga dati kong estudyante, pagkapasa ng CIPRA last year, sir, ano pinagkaiba ng CPR sa CIPRA? Kakoy letter A. Nagtawanan sila. Kakoy, huwag kayong matawa kasi totoo yun. Napaka-importante nung A kasi yan yung if you fail to comply or ikaw ay ika nga ng pelikula, tinimbang ka ngunit kulang by the yardstick of independence, the canons of competence, equality, and the others, then you will be held liable. That's the major distinction. Now, what is practice of law? Before kayo bumanat ng Cayetano versus Munsod, pagandahin natin ang sagot nyo. Let's go for the 5 points. How to answer now? Banatan mo muna ng Cayetano versus Munsod. The Supreme Court first defined that in the landmark case of Cayetano versus Munsod, yun ang banat mo. The Supreme Court first defined practice of law as any activity in or out of court requiring the application of law, legal procedure, knowledge, training, and experience. Under the CIPRA, yun ang pasok mo ngayon. Under the CIPRA, practice of law has been expanded. And under Canon 3 on fidelity, particularly Section 1, kung gusto mong isite, kung hindi, diretso na. The practice of law is the rendition of legal service or performance of acts or the application of law, legal principles, and judgment in and out of court with regards to the circumstances or objectives of a person or a cause and pursuant to a lawyer-client relationship or other engagement. Governed by the Code of Professional Responsibility and Accountability for Lawyers, It includes employment in the public service or private sector and requires membership in the Philippine Bar as a qualification. Okay? So, next question. What do you mean by the lawyer-client relation under the CIPRA? At yan ay Mala Justice Lopez, caudally yours. Okay? What are the components of the lawyer-client relation under the CIPRA? This is taken from the code that I just broke it down. A lawyer-client relationship is one of highest fiduciary character. As a trust relation, it is essential that the engagement is founded on confidence reposed by the client on the lawyer. I made it color-coded para malaman nyo ang components. Therefore, a lawyer-client relationship shall arise when the client consciously, voluntarily, and in good faith vests a lawyer with the client's confidence for the purpose of rendering legal services, such as providing legal advice or representation, and the lawyer, whether expressly or impliedly, expressly may kontrata, impliedly pumayag lang, agrees to render such legal service. Now, once you are engaged, a lawyer is going to perform two functions vis-a-vis the client. And what are these functions? Number one, he will be performing as an agent, but a special kind of agent because on matters of ethics and procedure, even if the client is the principal, it is going to be the lawyer who must be obeyed. And if the client insists that the lawyer do something unethical or violative of the oath, the lawyer is allowed to terminate the attorney-client relations. Number two, the relationship of fiduciary or trustee. That's why as a lawyer, we hold in trust all money, property of our client as if it is our own, but we do not use it as if it is our own. Bukod sa mga tip ko na sa inyo, ito pa ang aking bar tip. Kahit ito'y hindi number one. Okay, yan, ang mahiwagang N. Saan yan? Makikita mo yan sa CIPRA. Bukod sa lawyer's oath, practice of law, attorney-client relationship, make sure you are very, very familiar with all the N in your coverage. As your bar ops, as your branch, your sis, kung sino man ang inyong or inyong boyfriend, ang inyong girlfriend, kamo, kung mahal mo talaga ako, ipag-compile mo ako, ito ang coverage ng bar. Ipag-compile mo ako ng lahat ng new sections sa legal ethics ng CIPRA. Kasi, kung yung new sections, hindi mo alam, ay wala kang karapatang pumasa sa bar. Dahil yung mga sections na galing sa CPR, may jurisprudence na yun, i-apply mo lang yun eh. Yung new section, yun ang ngayon tayo magkakasubukan. Pag yun ay hindi mo maibigay kay justice o sa examiner niya, hindi kayo magkakasundo. Kaya mahalagang malaman mo yung new section. Because as the former student speaks, caudally yours yan. Okay? Magaling kung alam mo si Reyes, kasi yun ang pinagkukuhanan ng Reyes na criminal law ni Justice, nung kami estudyante niya. Pero, yun ang assigned textbook, mahalagang alam mo ang caudal. Kasi pag sa caudal hindi kayo nagkasundo, tatawag ng iba yan. Okay? Saya, caudally yours. Yung N. All the N in your coverage. You have to be able to define lahat ng yan at lahat na what is independence. Yung the pillars. Do not go to the bar without knowing the definition of the pillars under the CIPRA. Independence, integrity, equality, competence, diligence. Now, on merit-based practice, the Supreme Court, we say no to influence peddling. Let us backtrack a bit. Tayo'y kumuha sa pahina ng doktrina ni Best Bar Ever, Marvick Leonen. Ang sabi niya sa kasong ito ay, lawyers who offer no skill other than their acquaintances or relationship with regulators, investigators, judges, or justices pervert the system, weaken the rule of law, and debase themselves even as they claim to be members of a noble profession. If we are to preserve the nobility of this profession, its members must live within its ethical parameters. There is never an excuse for influence peddling. Take note, in another case, mere pagyayabang of influence or connects is enough. Yung pagsasabi mong malakas tayo dyan, ninong ko si judge, kumpare ko si justice, brad ko si commissioner, classmate ko si Depcom, okay, o kaya naman yung The Ultimate Boss, he is my child, in Tagalog, bata ko yan. Malakas tayo dyan, is already a violation of influence peddling. That is the case. Ang sabi dyan, mere claim of influence that he can influence and influence the outcome of any pending case is already unethical. Sabi ng Supreme Court in that case, whether his boast of connections in the right places are true or whether respondent actually makes use of these connections is irrelevant. The fact alone that he made it appear he is able to dictate the outcome of a case because of such connections is already a violation of the CPR and the lawyer's oath. The offense is consummated because the mere claim of influence inflicts damage to the image of the judiciary and assaults the integrity of the legal system. Then ano yung UDID? If you're going to ask me, yan ay Canon 1.01 o Rule 1.01 ng lumang CPR. The effect of the CPRA, it has superseded the CPR. Pero may mga portion ng CPR na good rule pa din at kasama dyan ang UDID. If you ask me, the UDID, okay, Canon 2, Section 1 on propriety, that is the UDID of CPR. A lawyer shall not engage in unlawful, dishonest, immoral, or deceitful conduct. Class, if there is a question, what is the most important canon? Then and now, ang sagot ko iisa. That one. You know why? Kasi it's catch all. If you are not unlawful, you are dishonest. If you are not dishonest, you are deceitful. And if you are immoral, you are all three. Okay? Kaya, yan ang most important. And if you read all the cases of the Supreme Court decision where they disbarred a lawyer, ang makikita nyo doon ay ano? The disbarment of the lawyer is anchored on this one. Wala kang kawala dyan kasi catch-all yan. So the UDID, still, if you ask me, the most important section under the CPR and the CPRA. Why? Kasi nga catch-all. Then the UDID explained. But before that, hypothetical. May tanong, should legal ethics be removed as a bar subject? The answer is no. Okay? Because it's the only subject among all. Kung nyo pa naisip-isipin nyo, it's the only subject that teaches you how you become a lawyer. The requirement, Section 2, Section 4, Section 5 of Rule 138. How you become a lawyer, how you stay as one by virtue of the CPRA, the requirements, and how you will be removed, accountability, and how you can be reinstated by virtue of the matter of judicial clemency. Yun ang importance niyan eh. Okay? So that's why legal ethics cannot be. And in the event that you are disbarred, how you could return to the fold. That's the only subject that teaches you all of those. At importante yon. Ano man ang galing mo sa remedial, ano man ang galing mo sa mercantil, ano man ang galing mo sa political, kung ikaw na may unethical, wala din. Tanggal ka. Kaya if you ask me, not me, but if you are asked the question, what is the most important requirement for any future lawyer? What is your answer? Isang napakatalino, mensa, magna cum laude, highest distinction sa law school, pero ethically corrupt. Okay? Ika nga, may nag-iintay ng slot doon sa ilalim pagka namatay. Diretso na. Yung isa naman, kapituko na lamang, talagang dadalawang daliri, lahat ng score ay 75. Pero ang kanya namang pagkatao ay daig pa ang santo. Decided case na yan. The most important requirement for any future lawyer is good moral character. Okay? So, yun. Now, let's now dissect the UDID, and this is the case. When is it unlawful? It is unlawful if it pertains to any act or omission that is contrary to or prohibited or unauthorized by or in defiance of, disobedience to, or disregard of the law. It is unlawful. Unlawful conduct does not necessarily imply the element of criminality although the concept is broad enough to include such element. To be dishonest, on the other hand, means the disposition to lie, to cheat, to deceive, to defraud, or betray, or to be unworthy. In addition, to be dishonest is for a person to be lacking in integrity, honesty, probity, integrity in principle, fairness, and straightforwardness. To be deceitful, on the other hand, means that there is proclivity for fraudulent and deceptive misrepresentation, artifice, or device that is used upon another who is ignorant of the true facts to the prejudice and damage of the party imposed upon. So, ikaw ay dishonest, masama na yon. If you are dishonest to take advantage of another, it now is aggravated to being deceitful. Ikaw ay nanlamang sa iyong kapwa, ikaw ay nambudol. Hindi ka lang nagsabi ng kasinungalingan, ginamit mo pa yon para ikaw ay makalamang sa iyong kapwa. At that is not allowed. Okay? Next. On immorality and immoral conduct, what do you need to know naman? Well, number one, the penalty of disbarment shall never be lightly imposed. It shall be imposed only for the gravest of offenses, those involving moral turpitude or those that goes into the moral character of the person in the ultimate kasamaan. Among them, grossly immoral conduct. Kung dalawa yan, merong simple immorality, may gross immorality. Okay, kayo naman ay mature na, kayo ay mga maya-maya pa'y abogado na. Paano ang pinagkaiba ng dalawa? Well, I will share with you what an old lawyer told me when I was starting to lecture sa MCLE somewhere in Negros. Sabi ng matandang lawyer na ito, somebody who has seen it all based sa kanyang kwento, sa kanyang reputasyon. Alam mo, attorney, Prof, basic sa akin ganito lang eh. Ang gross immorality ay take home. Ang simple immorality ay dine in. Gross immorality, inuwi mo, ibinahay mo. Oh. Ang gross immorality ay wholesale. Ang simple immorality, tumikim ka, ikaw ay retail. Okay. When a lawyer leaves his family, choose to stay with another woman who is not his wife, who is also married, that is gross immorality. Sir, what about breach of a promise to marry? Ay, maganda yan. If you cannot be compelled to marry. But if you're a lawyer and you made the promise in return for sexual congress, it now goes to your moral character. It becomes grossly immoral if you are already married and you have no religious justification to marry another. You made a promise of marriage again, anew, to another person in return for sexual congress. Kamo, ano muna tayo? Ano tawag dito? Yung ikaw muna ay trial. Okay? Parang driver's trial. Di ba? Oh. You have to know that if you made a promise of marriage in return for sex, that goes into your good moral character as a lawyer. But if you made that promise as a married lawyer already and you know you cannot fulfill the promise, it aggravates it to grossly immoral. Pero kung wala namang promise of marriage, pareho kayong nagkagustuhan, something happened between the two of you, at ngayon hinahabol ka ng other party dahil gusto kang pakasalan siya, you have the defense of consenting adults. Basta walang impediment, consenting adults is a valid defense. Okay? So we go to this case. Ano yan? Grossly immoral conduct or immoral conduct is any conduct which is willful, flagrant, or shameless as to show indifference to the opinion of the good and respectable members of the community. And as I have said kanina, the abandonment by an attorney of his legitimate family in order to cohabit with a married woman constitutes gross immorality that warrants his disbarment. So I have already made the distinction with you. Simple immorality versus gross immorality. Gross immorality, sabi ng Supreme Court sa isang decision, we take this opportunity to make the distinction because the supreme penalty of disbarment shall only be imposed for gross immorality. because disbarment shall not be lightly imposed. It shall be imposed only for the gravest of offenses. And then breach of a promise to marry by a lawyer, I have already told you what are the distinctions and what is a viable defense for you. Kung wala namang promise of marriage, it was you and me, we like each other, we had the sexual congress, a one-night stand in layman's term, in modern parlance, no promises given, no deceit. It's the theory of consenting adults. Provided that the one consenting is an adult. And number two, walang impediment to marry. Because the moment there's impediment, pareho kayong married. Ay, sabi niya, hindi naman siloso ang mga partner namin. Benchmarking lang ito. Patay tayo dyan. Hindi papasok si consenting adult. So class, the hashtag for a lawyer's proper behavior is what? Optics. Mahalaga yan. A lawyer must not only be pure, he must appear to be pure. Kung anong nakikita. Kaya nga siya sa mga karsada, yung mga bababa ka, may traffic altercation. Abogado ako. Hindi mo ba ako kilala? Mananampal ka. In one case, a lawyer was disciplined kasi sinampal niya yung fishbowl vendor na nakasabit ng kanyang kotse. Sa isang kaso, ganun din. Slapping incident in Cebuano. Sabi ng lawyer, buwang ka, waka makailan ako. Hindi mo ba ako kilala? It's very, very arrogant eh. And it is the behavior of these few misguided lawyers which contribute to stain the majority of us. And hindi natin dapat yan. The hashtag for lawyering is what? Respect. Okay? Mahalaga yan. If we are respected because of our title, the better respect is because we earn that respect. Okay? So what is dignified conduct? Yan nga, kaya respect eh. You must respect the law. How? Obedience. If the law says shall, will, or must, no room for discretion. Apply it. It may be harsh, but still the law. Dura lex sed lex. Diba? Number two, respect for the courts and tribunals and other agencies. How? Pag sinabing ngayon, kahit baha sa inyo, may trabaho ang korte, ikaw dapat mag-file ngayon. Respect is shown by compliance, faithful compliance with the orders of the courts. Okay? Their officials, employees, and processes. And every lawyer must act with courtesy, civility, fairness, and candor towards fellow members of the bar. Kasi in so many cases, kaya nga bawal ang harassment cases by lawyers against fellow lawyers, ang sinasabi lagi ng court, we are brothers and sisters in the profession. Okay? Ang magkalaban talaga, mga kliyente natin, we are advocates. Ang totoo nga niyan, dapat magkasundo. We must be the key in order for all of these parties to come together and resolve the issues. Diba? Eh, pagka hindi na-resolve ang issue, magkakaroon ng problema. Diba? That's why it cannot happen. We cannot be hostile to our fellow lawyers. If there is hostility between our clients, that hostility must never be allowed to infect us. Because we are advocates, we are counselors, we must counsel peace, we must counsel proper resolution. And we cannot do that unless there is courtesy, civility, fairness, and candor towards fellow members of the bar. So, by dignified conduct, what is meant by that? A lawyer shall not engage in conduct that adversely reflects on one's fitness to practice law. Nor must we behave in a scandalous manner, whether in public or private life, to the discredit of the legal profession. Okay? Kaya you have to know this, the personal and the professional persona of a lawyer are intertwined. Okay? Intertwined. Ibig sabihin, magkakadikit. Okay? They cannot be separated. And for that, ating matututunan ang importanteng kaso ni Attorney Gadon. The Gadon Saga. Alam niyo yung Attorney Gadon Saga, it keeps lecturers like me very busy. Eh bakit kanyo? May Gadonsaga ng 2023. May Gadonsaga ng 2022 muna, preventive suspension. In that case, the Supreme Court said the Supreme Court preventively suspended lawyer Gadon effective immediately and directed him to show cause why he should not be disbarred with respect to his viral video uttering profanities against journalist Raisa Robles. 2023, he got disbarred naman. Ito na yon. And then 2024, for gross misconduct for using untruthful pieces of evidence, statements anchored on hearsay against the Chief Justice Sereno in the impeachment trial in Congress. Sabi ng Supreme Court that is gross misconduct equivalent to disbarment. However, take note, and this is a takeaway for you, we do not observe in this jurisdiction the penalty of double disbarment. That is why hindi pwedeng imposa ng disbarment muli. Ang sabi nila ng court, may fine of 150,000 pesos plus the right to be reinstated using the process of judicial clemency was taken away from Attorney Gadon. So, remember this. Kasi alam naman ninyo, di ba, may pinagmumura siya 2021 na isang journalist, si Ms. Robles. December nagmura, January preventive suspension, and then he is required to show cause why he should not be disbarred. Ito na yung 2023, why he is disbarred. So tingnan ninyo, though a lawyer's language may be forceful and emphatic, it should always be dignified and respectful, befitting the dignity of the legal profession. The use of intemperate language and kind ascriptions has no place in the dignity of a judicial forum. Language abounds with countless possibilities for one to be emphatic but respectful, convincing but not derogatory, and illuminating but never offensive. In this regard, all lawyers should take heed that they are licensed officers of the court who are mandated to maintain the dignity of the legal profession. Hence, they must conduct themselves honorably and fairly. Respondent Gadon ought to temper his words in the performance of his duties as a lawyer, as an officer of the court. Key takeaways dito, class. Number 1, and this one is already decided, the Gadon case, the disbarment of Attorney Gadon, is one of the first cases of disbarment decided under the CIPRA. The CIPRA took effect April 11, 2023. This happened June 2023. At sa Gadon case, CIPRA na yan. Okay? What Attorney Gadon fails to realize is that lawyers, as under Section 2 of Canon 2, CIPRA na, are expected to avoid scandalous behavior, whether in public or private life. And this is repeated in Section 3 and 4 of the same canon, which respectively prohibit the creation or promotion of an unsafe or hostile environment both in private and public setting, and command the use of dignified, gender-fair, child, and culturally sensitive language in all personal and professional dealings. Now, the procedural significance of the Gadon case, ano naman yon? Si Attorney Gadon was first asked to explain under the CPR. Nung may CPR pa. But ultimately, he was disbarred eventually under the CIPRA. Yun ang isa sa challenge niya eh. Ano ang sabi ng Supreme Court? Why is it that even if it was filed under the CPR, it was decided under the CIPRA? The CIPRA expressly provides that it shall have a retroactive application. That is, it shall be applied to all pending cases, including this one. Okay? Ibig sabihin yung kaso ni Attorney Gadon. Thus, although the act for which Attorney Gadon was ordered to show cause why he should not be disbarred was committed during the effectivity of the outdated CPR, the court shall evaluate his act using the provisions of the new CIPRA. So, the Gadon case and the effectivity of the CIPRA, ano naman ito? Kasi pag tinanong kayo, when did the CIPRA became effective? Anong sagot ninyo? If you follow the CIPRA, it shall take effect. Tingnan nyo ang kodal. April 11, 2023. However, may requirement ng publication eh. So, you have your complete answer. Under the CPRA, it is stated that it took effect on April 11, 2023. However, in the Gadon case, the Supreme Court stated that there must be first publication in 2 newspapers of general circulation. And that happened on May 14, 2023. That's why the CPRA took effect 15 days thereafter or on May 30, 2023. Yan ang tamang sagot natin dyan. Okay? Yan ang pareho naman tama. Kasi kung titignan mo yung CPRA, nakalagay April 11, promulgated, took effect, ang ginamit na term. But to be compliant with all the requirements, yun ang tamang sagot. Next. So, a lawyer, how should a lawyer use language in all of his dealings? Dignified, gender fair, child and culturally sensitive in all personal and professional dealings. Sir, question po, kung nag-joke lang po and private comments pa po, that is a case decided by the Supreme Court April 11, 2023. The Supreme Court penalizes 5 lawyers over homophobic social media posts. Okay, you want to read more about it? It was reported as using that link. You may look at it. Type lang ninyo, lalabas na yan. Okay? Anong sabi? In this homophobic discussion ng mga lawyers, so the Supreme Court said that lawyers should conduct themselves with the highest degree of decorum and propriety. Kasi ito yung mga nag-comment na sino, yung judge na bakla sa second floor, blah, blah, blah. Matataray, mga corrupt, ganyan ang sinabi. And lawyers are likewise expected to refrain from making remarks and conjectures that tend to ridicule a certain segment of the population, like the LGBTQIA community. Okay? Where the SC deposed of the cause of the evil cause, ayan nga may nag-post. Just prosecuted and helped convict a member of the LGBTA community for large-scale estafa. The new convict then began cussing at me, accusing me of being a bigot. A first for me, adding that the judge, who is somewhat effeminate, comes to my defense and warns the felon to behave. All in a day's work. May nag-reply, sino? Yung bakla na judge, naka-eyeliner and eyeshadow pag naghihiring, ang taray pa. Sa second floor, puro may sira ulo ang mga judge. Sa baba, bakla at mga corrupt. Consequently, in these exchanges, inutos ng Supreme Court to investigate. And in its report and recommendation of 2022, the Office of the Bar Confidant recommended that the lawyers be admonished, noting that their comments showed that the main topic of their online conversation was LGBTQIA community members and judges. Sir, what if wala namang name na mentioned? Will that have any effect on the case? Yes. The OBC opined that though no other names were mentioned, the comments of the 5 lawyers were made in a degrading and shameful manner, contrary to the duty of lawyers to conduct themselves with the highest degree of propriety and decorum, and to refrain from making remarks and conjectures that tend to ridicule a certain segment of the population, such as the LGBTQIA community. Now, on the expectation of the right to privacy, sir, ang amin nung usapan ay private. Hindi ho dapat magamit sa amin kasi it was never intended to be public. Tingnan ninyo ang sinasabi. There can be no reasonable expectation of privacy as regards social media posts, regardless if the same are locked, precisely because the access restriction settings in social media platforms do not absolutely bar other users from obtaining access to the same. So take note of that. Our takeaways, ang sinasabi dito in finding the lawyers liable, and take note this is an example na bagamat may CPRA na noong August 2023, CPR ang ginamit dito. Tingnan ninyo. in finding the lawyers liable for violation of Rule 7.03 of the CPR, which prohibits lawyers from engaging in conduct that adversely reflects on their fitness to practice law, and prohibits them from behaving in a scandalous manner to the discredit of the legal profession. The court said that inappropriate, disrespectful, and defamatory language of lawyers, even in the private sphere, are still within the court's disciplinary authority. Okay? Kaya hashtag niyan, respeto naman. It further stressed that members of the legal profession must respect the freedom of the LGBTQIA individuals to be themselves and express who they are as part of their constitutionally guaranteed right to freedom of expression. On top of this, anybody who makes such a mistake would still, lawyer man o hindi, can still be held liable under our other laws. Yan yun, no? The court also pointed out that inappropriate, disrespectful, belligerent, or malicious language can be a source of criminal liability under the Safe Spaces Act. So take note of that. So, how we lawyers should not talk, how we lawyers should not use language, gender-based, sexual harassment, encompassing transphobic and homophobic slurs in streets and public spaces, as well as online, may warrant progressive penalties ranging from community service, fines, imprisonment, said the court, and they must be avoided. So what is the moral of the story? The rule of the new no comment. Avoid the MEMA syndrome. Alin ba yung MEMA syndrome? May masabi lang. So wag na lang kayo mag-comment kasi courts, the Supreme Court can act on your unethical conduct, motu proprio, or even if there is no complainant. Next, to the end, a lawyer shall not use language which is abusive, intemperate, offensive, or otherwise improper in oral or written, whether, tingnan nyo, made through traditional electronic means, email, electronic platform, messenger, WeChat, Telegram, including all forms or types of mass or social media. In another case, before the advent of the CIPRA, at tingin ko noon, bago pa lang ang internet, bumanat ang isang lawyer sa kapwa lawyer sa pleading. At ebidensya talaga yon. Sabi ng lawyer, who is he? Despite his shortness not only in height, but also in intellect. That is why the lawyer is also, aside from being respectful, is also expected to be a paragon of the truth. That's why a lawyer shall not make false representation or statements. He shall be liable for material damage caused by such representation or statement, particularly in application or admission to the bar. What is the effect of a false statement in the bar petition? Ang sagot ko dyan, class, it will depend. It depends when it was discovered. If it was discovered after the filing before the permit, no more permit. If it is discovered after the exam, lumabas ang resulta, no oath for you. If it was discovered after the nakaperma ka na 20 years later, you can still be disbarred because a disbarment proceeding is sui generis. It is imprescriptible. Among them is the case of Caronan versus Caronan for 2016. Yang Caronan versus Caronan, yan ang landmark na case ng 2016 kasi Mr. Caronan stole the identity of his brother because he is not qualified to go to law school kasi siya ay hindi graduate ng college. He stole the identity and credentials, went to law school, finished the law school, took the bar, nahuli. So sabi ng Supreme Court, on your own, even if you are qualified on your own, perpetual disqualification to take the bar. You cannot be disbarred. Hindi ka man naging abogado eh. For judges, or if you are aspiring to become future judges, be aware of that case. Yan. If you have a pending case against you, you have to divulge it before the Judicial and Bar Council. He was removed as a judge. he was also disbarred under 02-902. If the ground for removal as a judge is also a ground for removal as a lawyer, it could be done like that. Next, a lawyer shall not in demand letters or other similar correspondence make false representation or statements or impute civil, criminal, or admin liability. Big sabihin, bawal ang mang-blackmail. How do you write a demand letter properly? Ano ang mga parameters? How not to write them? Okay? Iyan. This is the case. Okay? 2007. When does a letter become too demanding? When does a letter become too demanding? A lawyer is charged with violation of Rule 19.01 of Canon 19 of the CPR for writing a demand letter, the content of which threaten complainant with the filing of criminal cases for tax evasion and falsification of documents. Ito ang panakot dito, iyan. But if these are not paid on August 10, 2005, we will be constrained to file and claim bigger amounts, including moral damages, to the tune of millions under established precedents of court cases and law, in addition to multiple charges. Sabi ng Supreme Court, the threats are not only unethical for violating Canon 19, but they also amount to blackmail. Can a lawyer who is a respondent in a similar case claim privacy of communication or the privileged nature of the communication to shield or so that he will claim immunity from having such a case decided against him? Is that proper? Kung hindi ito matanong dito, baka matanong yan doon sa Constitution, Bill of Rights. Anong sabi ng Supreme Court? The privileged nature of the letter was removed when the respondent used it to blackmail and extort from the latter compliance with the demands of his client. So, if it's gonna be resorted to blackmail, the privileged nature is taken away from the lawyer. Then the truth and lawyers must be exponents of the truth, instrument of honesty and accuracy. Diba? That's why we have an obligation to correct false or inaccurate statements and information in relation to an application for admission to the bar. Okay? So, you have to correct any pleading, any document in court, tribunal, agency as soon as we can or the false inaccuracy is discovered, because if you do that at the earliest possible time, you can claim inadvertence. Pero yung nahuli ka na pointed out sa iyo, parang ang hirap eh. Kasi para bang iba na yung intent eh. Di ba? That's why you shall immediately inform a court, tribunal, or other government agency of any dishonest, deceitful, or misleading conduct related to a matter being handled by the lawyer before such court, because you go back to that rule, evil triumphs when good lawyers do nothing. Okay? Kaya, yan po iyon. The anchorage of this duty is the UDID. A lawyer must not do anything unlawful, deceitful, immoral, and dishonest. And also our oath, which mandates us to do no falsehood, nor shall we pervert the law to unjustly favor or prejudice anyone. We shall now take our liquidity break, a short liquidity break, address your liquidity concerns. And then we will go to the second part of our lecture. We will finish legal ethics and finish this with judicial ethics. So, break lang po muna tayo. Muli, this lecture is taken from our work, the CIPRA 500, soon to be available at Central Bookstore. Pwede na kayong mag-advance order. Basta po, CIPRA 500, this whole lecture is forms part of our CIPRA 500 available at Central Bookstore. So break po muna tayo. Salamat po. Good day, everyone. We are now on the second hour of our special lecture for future lawyers like you are, brought to you by Central Bookstore and PALS. And we stop with the matter of a lawyer being truthful, a lawyer committing not to do any falsehood, not to pervert the law, to unjustly favor or prejudice anyone. This is the reportorial function. And when do you report? You have to report ASAP. Because yung importance of before and after, if you report before you are called or your attention is called, you can say it was inadvertence, honest mistake. But if it was called after discovery, saka ka nag-report, inutusan ka ng i-correct, medyo it in a way affects how you are perceived eh. Kaya, well, the first rule is be mindful. All that you sign, remember the importance of the lawyer's signature. Before you sign, make sure that it is true and correct. It is the truth, it is sufficient to support a cause of action, supported by evidence. Diba? Before you even, and always be truthful. Okay? So, you have the reportorial duty to report to the appropriate authority any transaction or unlawful activity that is required to be reported under relevant laws, including submission of covered and suspicious transactions under regulatory laws like the anti-money laundering. Take note of the red kasi pag tinanong kayo, what is the CIPRA Safe Harbor provision? That is the red. Any lawyer who discloses or reports the foregoing information like in the anti-money laundering rules or compliance with such to the appropriate court, tribunal, or other government agency, the lawyer shall not be deemed to have violated the lawyer's duty of confidentiality. Kaya sa totoo lang po tayo. That's why a lawyer shall report and such information bilang protection sa iyo aside from the safe harbor provision, it shall be treated with strict confidentiality. Kaya lang, sabi ko nga, sa totoo lang po tayo kasi any baseless report shall be subject to civil, criminal, or administrative action. Now, every lawyer must observe the duty of transparency, meaning a lawyer shall at first available opportunity formally disclose on record your relationship or connection with the presiding officer of the court, tribunal, or other government agency, or any of your personnel or the lawyer's partners, associates, or clients. That may serve as a ground for mandatory or compulsory inhibition in any pending proceeding before court, tribunal, or other government agency. The objective of this transparency is what? To help the courts fulfill their duty of observing the cold neutrality of an impartial judge. Ang mahalaga dyan ay yung compliance with veritas, the truth. Okay? On top of that, another species of veritas is this. A lawyer shall not misquote, misrepresent, or mislead the court as to the existence or the contents of any document, argument, evidence, law, or other legal authority, or pass off as one's ideas or words of another. Bawal mag-plagiarize or assert as a fact that which has not been proven. So, alin yan? You might have the right case, you have the wrong citation. You have the right case, you have the right citation, you may have the wrong doctrine. Or you're using a totally non-existent case, or you say that per the Court of Appeals, but you are quoting not the Court of Appeals, but your own pleading. The use of a non-existent POA resolution is a ground for disciplinary action. And then, sasabihin mo as provided for by Article 5555 of the Civil Code. Eh kahit pagpatungin mo ang dalawang Civil Code, hindi aabot ng Article 5555. So niloloko mo ang court. Don't do that. Okay? At sasabihin mo pa, ikaw ang lead counsel, ikaw pala na may collaborating, at until yung nauna ay nag-withdraw ang status mo, pag pumasok ka later on, collaborating ka pa din. Okay? And then, ang pagnanakaw ng roll of attorney number ng ibang abogado, ang paggamit ng MCLE compliance number, Ang pagpapractice na hindi ka naman pala abogado o ang pagpapractice na ikay suspendido, lahat ng yan ay kamalian. Ang sabi nga ni Chair sa kanyang isang kaso on Notary Public's duty of truth, transparency, and proper recording, decided case yan. There is no doubt Attorney Tamano's failure to record the GIS in his notarial book is inexcusable and constitutes gross negligence in carefully discharging his duties as a notary public. By failing to record proper entries in the notarial register, Attorney Tamano violated his duty under Canon 1 of the CPR to uphold and obey the laws of the land, specifically the notarial rules, and to promote respect for law and legal processes. Ang sabi din ni Chair J. Lo, iyan naman ang kaso, you don't fool a client with a fake decision. Binudol mo yung kliyente eh. Ano sabi? Okay na po kayo, panalo na ho tayo. Nasaan ang kopya, attorney? Ito ho, oh. O kaya naman, annulled na po kayo. Nasaan ang kopya? Ito po, kompleto. Pero pag pumunta ka naman sa Philippine Statistics Authority, hindi ka makakuha ng Certificate of No Marriage kasi sa record nila, married ka pa rin. Ibig sabihin, peke ang desisyon. Okay? Eh pagka ganito, pwede bang ma-disbar? Take note of this. Sabi ni Chair, Attorney Ramon had already been disbarred in the case of Lampas Peralta versus Ramon. The court has removed Attorney Ramon's name from the role of attorney after it was proven that she drafted a fake decision of the CA and she exacted exorbitant fees from her clients. Another importance of the case is this, yun. As I was saying kanina, on this score, the additional penalty can no longer be imposed upon Attorney Ramon because of her previous disbarment. Take note, we do not have double or multiple disbarment in our laws or jurisprudence. Again, isa pa yan. When a lawyer steals the roll of attorney number, the PTR number, or the MCLE compliance number of another lawyer, that is unethical, that is deceitful. And ang nangyari sa isang kaso, you steal the roll of attorney number of a dead lawyer, it is even immoral. Then the signature of the lawyer, be careful before you sign. Why? Lawyers in their pleadings, this is the case. Anong sabi ng Supreme Court? The preparation and signing of a pleading constitute legal work involving practice of law, which is reserved exclusively for the members of the legal profession. Counsel may delegate the signing of a pleading to another lawyer but cannot do so in favor of one who is not a lawyer. Moreover, a signature by agents of a lawyer amounts to signing by unqualified person, something that the law strongly proscribes. A counsel signature is such an integral part of a pleading that failure to comply with this requirement reduces a pleading to a mere scrap of paper, totally bereft of legal effect. Thus, faithful compliance with this requirement is not only a matter of satisfying a duty to a court, but it is as much a matter of fidelity to one's client. A deficiency in this respect can be fatal to a client's cause. Now, can lawyers advertise? Anong sabi ng CIPRA? Lawyers shall not directly or indirectly solicit or appear to solicit legal business. The basis of the prescription is the time-honored rule that lawyering is a noble profession. Okay? Lawyers are not merchants that can go down to the level of merchants hawking their wares. Itong kasong ito, twice nang naitanong sa bar. Si Attorney Can ay Court Administrator at Chief Information Officer ng Supreme Court. Okay, si Attorney Simbilio ay nag-publish ng newspaper ad. Isang linggo nakita ni Attorney Simbilio, nakita ni Attorney Can, yung annulment of marriage, everything promptly secured, everything confidential. Is that allowed? The Supreme Court said no. Sir, sabi na Attorney Simbilio, but my name is not there. The Supreme Court applied res ipsa loquitur. Eh, wala nga ang pangalan mo. Pero, every time we call the number, ang sagot, Law Office of Attorney Simbilio. So, res ipsa loquitur. It has been repeatedly stressed that the practice of law is not a business. Practice of law is a profession in which duty to public service, not money, is the primary consideration. Lawyering is not primarily meant to be a money-making venture, and law advocacy is not a capital that necessarily yields profits. The gaining of a livelihood should be a secondary consideration. The duty to public service and to the administration of justice should be the primary consideration of lawyers, who must subordinate their personal interests or what they owe to themselves. Take note, yun. So, bawal mag-advertise unless, yun, kaya ang pwedeng sagot mo dyan, yes or no eh. A lawyer cannot advertise unless the advertising is allowed. A lawyer is allowed to advertise except prohibited forms of advertising. Kaya pwedeng yes or no yan eh. So what is allowed advertising? The use of dignified, factual information. So through data, through contact details, okay? Ang bawal lang dito ay yung pagbubuhat ng bangko. In no case shall the permissible advertisement be self-laudatory. Expert, the best, yan. Words to avoid. I am an expert. I am the best. Bawal din ang award me scheme. Alin yon? Nagbibigay ka ng pera para ikaw ay kilalanin at ikaw ay awardan. A lawyer, law firm, or any of the representatives shall not pay or give any benefit or consideration to any of the following in anticipation or return for publicity or recognition, to attract legal representation, service, or retainership. Ngayon, if the award is bona fide, talagang deserving ka. Okay? At alam naman ng marami na yung award na matagal na, hindi yan yung tinatawag nating yung mga fly-by-night award-giving body na ano yan, bakit nagkaroon ng ganyang award? O, di ba? If it's a bona fide award and truly well-deserved, no ethical issues. Pero kung yan ay ang objective talaga is mapansin, ma-recognize. Kasi the best advertising for a lawyer is what? A hard-earned reputation for dedication, passion, zeal. Diba? For the client. Yun ang talagang kailangan. What lawyers cannot do with pending cases, yan. You cannot, you have to observe the sub judice rule. You cannot use any forum or medium to comment or publicize opinion pertaining to a pending proceeding. Diba? If the objective is to cause a prejudgment, sway public perception as to impede, obstruct, or influence the decision of the court, impute improper motives against any of the members, or create a widespread perception of guilt or innocence before any final decision, bawal yan. Now, if it's only pagbibigay ng kaalaman sa kapwa, walang problema. Now, can lawyers criticize the court? Yes. Lawyers can criticize the court's decision. It can point out where the court may have lapsed with error. But please take note, mga kapatid, certainly it does not give us lawyers unbridled right to insult or to malign the courts. Lawyers cannot be generous. If they are generous, it must be not to certain people because that is not allowed. Why? Directly or indirectly giving gifts, donations, contributions of any value on any occasion to any court, tribunal, or government agencies. Bawal po iyan. Lawyers and shopping, mag-shopping kayo. Wag lang kayo mag-forum shopping. Knowingly engage or through gross negligence in forum shopping, which, why is that evil? It offends the administration of justice. That's number one. Number two, forum shopping is a falsehood foisted upon the court, tribunal, or other government agency. Beyond that are the established evils of forum shopping. The grave evil sought to be avoided by the rule against forum shopping is the rendition of two competent tribunals of two separate and contradictory decisions. Unscrupulous party litigants taking advantage of a variety of competent tribunals may repeatedly try their luck in several different fora until a favorable result is reached. To avoid the resultant confusion, the court adheres strictly to the rules against forum shopping. And any violation of these rules results in the dismissal of the case. Then what is not allowed directly is not to be done indirectly. If hindi mo magawa, para hugas kamay ka, you do not advise. Kaya ko hinighlight yan eh. You cannot institute by yourself as a lawyer and you do not advise your client, wag ako hugas kamay, to institute forum shopping for the purpose of leveraging a case to harass a party or delay the proceeding or increase the cost of litigation. All of this. Any effort on the part of the lawyer as a dilatory tactic is unethical. Any effort on the part of a lawyer to thwart the ends of justice is unethical. And lawyers must stay in their lane. Do not aswang your other party's client. Stay in your lane, panyero. Kaya nga, a lawyer shall not directly or indirectly encroach upon or interfere in the professional engagement of another lawyer. Because lawyers are not ambulance chasers. Okay? So, we do not attempt to communicate, negotiate, or deal with the person represented by another lawyer on any matter, whether pending or not in any court, tribunal, body, or agency, unless when initiated by the client or with the knowledge of the latter's lawyers. Okay? Next, but pwede tayo pumasok if we are asked to help. Because lawyers can come in the case as knights in shining armor, and this is liability-free. Take note, a lawyer, however, may give proper advice and assistance to anyone seeking relief against perceived unfaithful or neglectful counsel based on the SIPRA. Then we go now to one of the highlights and one of the innovations because of siguro yung activity nyo sa Musta Attorney, abogadong Pinoy. Behave kayo ha! Kasi meron na tayong responsible use of social media. Okay? Alin dyan nang wala kayo? Ako, alam ko, meron lang ako dyan Facebook eh. Diba? The social media provisions of the SIPRA. Bakit mahalaga yan? Breaking it down, a lawyer shall uphold the dignity of the legal profession in all social media interactions in a manner that enhances the people's confidence in the legal system, as well as promote its responsible use. So this is the case. The Supreme Court has suspended a lawyer for use of unkind words versus complainant on Facebook posts. The FB post, tinag niya ang background nito, ang lawyer, ang kliyente, yung babae, yung wife. Ang complainant laban sa lawyer ay yung husband. Ang sabi nito ng lawyer, tinag yung anak ng kliyente niya tsaka ng complainant. Pakitingnan mo ang iyong ama, iho at huwag mo siyang gayahin ha. The message was accompanied by a link to a post dated March 19, 2016, published by respondent on FB with the caption, "Wise Polygamous Husband?" For the lawyer, poster, and blogger, can he say at the time I did it, I was not acting as a lawyer? No. The personal and professional persona are intertwined. Language abounds with countless possibilities for one to be empathic but must always be respectful, convincing but never derogatory, and illuminating but never offensive. The mothership case nito is something decided in 2016. In 2009, respondent, a blogger, journalist, columnist, lawyer, wrote a series of posts on his Facebook account, a popular online social networking site, insulting and verbally abusing complainant. Katulad niyan, Okay? Ano ang sabi ng Supreme Court? That kind of language is not proper for a lawyer. That's why it will merit a 1-year suspension. Okay? A lawyer shall have the duty to understand that there are benefits, risks, and ethical implications associated with the use of social media. It's not all benefits. What you post there, kung sabi dati, what happens in Facebook stays in Facebook, dito mas malawak. Bakit? Yan na yun eh. Ultimo ngang ang chief ng PAO, okay, was cited for indirect contempt and grossly undignified conduct prejudicial for administration of justice. The online aspect of the case, ayan yun. It was determined that Attorney Acosta's statement and innuendos on her Facebook page, which was accessible to the public, attributed ill intent and malice to the court. A lawyer shall ensure that his or her online post, whether made in public or restricted privacy settings, still holds an audience. Okay? So kung yan ay restricted, pero may audience pa din, pasok yan. Must uphold the dignity of the legal profession and shield it from disrepute, as well as maintain respect for the law. So I repeat ha, even if it's private ang setting, pero meron pa ring audience, pasok yan. Okay? Then the matter of conflict of interest. What is conflict of interest? There is conflict of interest when a lawyer represents inconsistent opposing interests of two or more persons. The test here is whether in behalf of one client, it is the lawyer's duty to fight for an issue, but which is his or her duty to oppose, as what happened as early as 1913 in Reporter Hamilton. Nag-file ng complaint for client A. 1 week later, nag-file ng motion to dismiss the same complaint si same lawyer on behalf of client B. That is conflict of interest. And can a lawyer handle cases of conflict of interest? Yan ay yes and no. Parehong tama. Basta ang reasoning nyo tama. A lawyer shall not represent conflicting interests except by written informed consent of all concerned, given after a full disclosure of the facts. Okay? So, yan yon. And the rules, so, yes and no. Yes, a lawyer may handle cases of conflict of interest provided that he has obtained the written consent of all concerned, given after a full disclosure of the facts. No, a lawyer cannot handle cases involving conflict of interest unless he has obtained the written informed consent of all parties given after a full disclosure. So what are the rules to be observed? Business transaction, you cannot enter into a business transaction with a client or knowingly acquire an ownership, possessory, security, or other pecuniary interest unless, number one, the lawyer acquires the interests are fair and reasonable to the client and are fully disclosed and transmitted in writing in a manner that can be reasonably understood by the client. Number two, the client is advised in writing of the desirability of seeking and is given a reasonable opportunity to seek the advice of another independent lawyer. And the client gives written informed consent to the essential terms of the transaction. Ang mahalaga dito, the tie that binds here is transparency. Walang lamangan, walang deceitful conduct. Pag current clients, anong sinasabi? You cannot use confidential information that you got without the client's written informed consent. Okay, pwede yon because written informed consent is civil law that is volente non fit injuria. No wrong is done to one who consents. Next, you cannot acquire any substantial gift, including testamentary gift or prepare on behalf of the client. Bawal din yon. And kailangan na written informed consent on the client. Sir, pwede bang Mr. Lawyer gawin naming episode sa maalaala mo kaya yung buhay ng kliyente mo? Ang lawyer pumayag. Allowed ba? The answer is no. A lawyer shall not make or negotiate an agreement giving the lawyer literary or media rights to a portrayal or account based on substantial part on information relating to the representation of the client. Next, the rule on white knights. Alin ba yan? Yung mga papasok, tutulong. Okay? The following rules shall be observed. A lawyer shall not accept compensation in representation of a client unless, number one, pumayag si client. Sir, kaibigan ko yan, best friend ko yan, kliyente mo. Alam kong walang-wala yan. Ako ang magbabayad. Pwede ba yung tanggapin ng lawyer? Kung papayag si kliyente na meron siyang white knight. Number two, ako magbabayad attorney, pero ako masusunod. Ito ang gagawin natin. Babayaran si judge, gagapangin. No. Because there must be maintenance of the independence of the lawyer. There must be no interference with the lawyer's independence or professional judgment or with the lawyer-client relationship. And, babayaran ko attorney, pero ano bang sinabi sa iyong sikreto? You do not breach the attorney-client privilege. So just because somebody is paying the fee for you, that is not allowed. Okay? Next, in matters of settlement, okay, or plea bargaining, you must disclose to all. Okay? There must be transparency. Kasi Kailangan malaman yan. Informed consent dapat. Next, avoid testifying on behalf of the client, okay, unless there is formal matters, okay, like you filed, you timely filed, you complied, and substantial matters, where the testimony is essential to the ends of justice, where in such cases, you must ask another lawyer to step in on your behalf. Law firms and conflict of interest, anong dapat tandaan? You should disclose to everybody in the law firm. Yun yung ABC na kliyente natin ay kalaban namin sa isang kaso in the past sa luma kong law firm ng DEF. And you are not allowed to handle cases of conflict of interest. Okay? If there's a potential conflict of interest, the lawyer shall not act on the case or cases of the affected current client. Law firms and conflict of interest, anong sinasabi? In case of an objection by either the prospective or current client, the lawyer shall not accept the new engagement. Okay? Kailangan kasi dito, everybody must give their express written consent. Okay? So, okay na tayo dito, yung pag-use ng information. Okay na tayo dyan. Next, pagka yung corporation, you represent only the corporation. You do not, corporate entity theory. Diba? You do not represent the corporation. You only represent, you only represent the corporation. You do not represent the components of such corporation. And if you are a lawyer of the corporation and at the same time a member of the board of directors, you must be aware of the demarcation and must stay within the lane of such demarcation. Next, legal services organization. Ano yan? Any private organization, including legal aid clinic, partnership, association, or corporation, whose primary purpose is to provide legal service, legal aid clinic. Ang lawyer-client relation dyan ay alin, shall arise only between the client and the handling lawyers. Only the client and the handling lawyers. Yung hindi nag-handle na lawyer, hindi yun conflict of interest. Okay? You have to be participants who actually participated in the handling. You now shall be governed with the rule on conflict of interest and confidentiality. Kayun din yung mga sumasama dito by way of the law student practice rule. Then we go to the important topic of accountability. Take note, how do you start it? The Supreme Court can initiate it motu proprio. Okay? Kaya nga ingat kayo sa post ninyo, sa musta attorney. If your post violated the social media provisions of the CPR, it can be used against you. Or the CIPRA pala. Or by filing a verified complaint with the Board of Governors or by any persons or by the Board of Governors themselves. Okay? Pero kung yan ay government lawyer which is to discipline the lawyer as a lawyer, hindi as a government employee, Supreme Court yan. Okay? Pagka yan ay sa IBP, okay, yan ay may fact pa. Take note ha, a complaint filed with the Supreme Court may, ito mahalaga malaman nyo, referral to the IBP is not mandatory. It is directory. Okay? And then it could be referred to any of the fact-finding body as may be designated. Pagka naman disbarment ng judges, justices, Court of Appeals, Sandigan Bayan, or lawyers in the judicial service, yan ay Supreme Court. The IBP cannot do the following. Number one, the IBP cannot suspend or disbar a lawyer. They can only recommend. Number two, the IBP cannot investigate an incumbent judge or justice. It is fraught with danger, particularly possible vendetta. Okay? Next, the matter of judicial clemency. Take note of this. A lawyer who has been disbarred may file a verified petition for judicial clemency after 5 years. What is the significance of the date of receipt, disbarment, or suspension? That starts the running of the period. 3-year suspension counted from receipt. After 3 years from receipt, pwede ka na mag-file ng sworn statement para makabalik ka. Pagka iyan naman ay disbarred, after 5 years, pwede ka na mag-file ng judicial clemency, provided that Number one, filed after 5 years, you have fully complied with the terms, you have recognized the wrongfulness, and there must be remorse. If there is no remorse, ang sasabihin mo up to now, you disagree with your disbarment, but you want to be reinstated, you will not be reinstated. Or if there is a private offended party that there have been reconciliation. Kung walang private offended party, dapat may public apology. Okay? And then you must prove to the court that you have now all of the qualification and none of the disqualification provided for by law. You could also allege that ito'y ginamit ng Supreme Court before this was institutionalized with the CIPRA in earlier decisions of judicial clemency, that you will show proof that you still have productive years that can be put to good use if given a chance, that there is showing of promise like intellectual aptitude, learning, or legal acumen, that you can still put to good use and serve the public, society, the bench, and your future clients. Now, sa sworn statement, suspension, ang mahalaga lang dyan malaman ninyo is pag-suspension, ang kailangan lang para makabalik ay sworn statement that you have not practiced all the time that you were suspended. Okay? Then we go to judicial ethics, the branch of science or moral science which treats of the duties and responsibilities expected to be faithfully discharged by any member of the judiciary. The yardstick of behavior is the new code of conduct for the Philippine judiciary, anchored on the Bangalore draft. The pillars of judicial conduct are the following: independence. A judge and the whole judiciary can never be a rubber stamp for any act of tyranny or despotism or anarchy. An independent judiciary is needed so that there will be a sufficient system of checks and balance. There are two kinds of independence: decisional or individual independence, the freedom of the judge to decide cases based on his own individual appreciation of the facts, application of the law, and the records. Not because he was told to decide this, not because there was expectation that he is beholden to a particular entity or power. That's why he is deciding the case as such. And institutional independence. The independence of the judiciary is an institution free from any encroachment by any other branches. Integrity. Justice must be done. It must seem to be done. Judges must be above reproach. They must be like Caesar's wife. They must not only be pure, they must appear to be pure. Impartiality. The court owes everybody the cold neutrality of an impartial judge. That's why there are rules. Number one, on compulsory disqualification and on voluntary inhibition. In voluntary inhibition, any judge is given the widest latitude of discretion to inhibit himself. Also, to ensure impartiality and fairness, in multi-sala courts, there is that rule of the Supreme Court that it must always be done by raffle. You cannot say, mas mabilis po kahit walang raffle, diretso na lang sa akin. No, pag multi-sala. Okay? Propriety, every judge must act properly. What is propriety? Hindi mo gagamitin ang opisina mo para magbenta ng ang iyong asawa habang naghihiring ka, judge ka, nagbebenta ng Avon, Natasha, Tupperware sa iyong sala. Hindi mo gagamitin ang announcement board na nasa labas ng iyong korte, wanted sexy singer, apply inside. Hindi mo gagamitin ang iyong ng iyong asawang abogado ang iyong opisina para doon siya magtanggap at magpadala ng return address ng mga demand letters showing to everybody na asawa siya ng judge at dapat siya pagbigyan. Hindi mo gagamitin ang mga property in custodia legis gaya nung baril na ginamit mo, siya evidence, binigay mo sa bodyguard mo, sabi mo, gamitin mo muna at wala pa tayong baril, o yung sasakyan. Hindi mo rin gagamitin ang mga iyong staff para mag-research para sa anak mo nagma-masters. All government property given to you as a judge must be used by you as a judge and for no other purpose. That is propriety. Okay? Equality. Everybody before you must have a fair stand. Your eyes must be bereft of the lenses of bias, the lenses of prejudice. Okay? There must always be neutrality in you. Okay? Kasi ang pinakamalaking pangloloko daw or the unethical charade is for a litigant to go through the motion of a hearing without knowing that even before he is tried, he is already prejudged because the judge or the deciding power has already committed earlier to a ruling that is in favor of the totally against the party appearing, and the trial is only a moro-moro, only a palabas to show compliance with the requirement of a trial. Diligence and competence, ano naman ito? Compliance with the time-honored rule of deciding cases on time. We decide cases on time because justice delayed is justice denied. Okay? Not only that, if the law says shall, will, or must, these are mandatory. There is no room for discretion. Okay? Next. Objective of the Code of Conduct, just remember the juice of our high school days. Alin yan? High C. Ano yung high C? An honorable, an independent, and a competent court. These are the objective. You do not use discretion if the rule is mandatory. Okay? Honorable, independent, competent judiciary. Okay? Kinds of filing versus magistrates for discipline of lawyers. One, filed with the Judicial Integrity Board. Dati po kasi Office of the Court Administrator. Hindi na po ngayon. It's now the Judicial Integrity Board. The Supreme Court motu proprio can file or the JIB can file. Okay? Those who are not members of the Supreme Court, just follow what you see in the screen. And it could also be one where, take note, motu proprio or by Judicial Integrity Board itself, using as basis the records, documents, or newspaper or media reports, or those duly referred or endorsed to it for appropriate action. If not, motu proprio, anong pwede? Yan. Okay? Verified complaint supported by affidavits of persons who have personal knowledge of the facts alleged therein. Kung anonymous complaint and that is now allowed for judges against members of the judiciary, okay, the material averments may be readily verified and substantiated. Nga pala sa legal ethics, meron na tayong preventive suspension under the CIPRA. Anonymous filing, pwede. Okay? Kasi ang anonymous filing pinapayagan because in some places, judges are perceived to be all-powerful. Kaya inaalaw yung anonymous filing. What if against SC justices? By complaint against graft and corruption or ethical standards, Supreme Court members you file with the Supreme Court will be referred by the Supreme Court to the Committee on Ethics and Ethical Standards. Preliminary investigation and then report and recommendation to the Supreme Court en banc. If filed directly to the JIB, anong pwedeng gawin? It shall be referred by the JIB to the Supreme Court kung yan ay mga members ng Supreme Court ang involved. And i-record for the date of the Supreme Court receiving the complaint. Death, separation, and retirement, anong effect? Okay, if the death, separation, and retirement is prior to filing, it should not be filed. Wala na yan eh. Pero kung yan naman ay na-file ang complaint before the death, separation, and retirement, tuloy yan. Okay? Pero pag iyan ay ipinail pa talaga at meron ng death, separation, retirement, it will be dismissed. However, as I have said kanina, once proceedings have already been instituted, the subsequent retirement or separation shall not preclude the continuation of the same. However, pag namatay, dismissed. Okay? Now, I think we have earned the right to end our lecture. If you need more, bitin ka ba? And to make sure, this is CIPRA 500. I'm happy to promote that because you have to know this eh. I am not gonna earn anything. All the books I have written for Central, Ethics 300, Insurance 555, and CIPRA 500, all the proceeds, all my royalty honoraria will go to charity. I wrote the book so that we could have funding, revenue stream for our charitable works, for our family. Meron kaming mga adopted charity. So, ang ating motto dito, if you buy CIPRA 500 Q&A, and take notes on legal and judicial ethics and the CIPRA is, nakatulong ka na surely, matututo ka pa hopefully. So, yun po ang ating pag-uusap. Yun po ang reason kaya ako nagpo-promote is really for charity work. Okay? Good karma on the part of the bar candidate. Okay? So, it's available at Central Bookstore this July 2024. And good luck po sa inyo. So, this is where I end. No honest efforts are ever wasted if offered for the greater glory of God. So, I hope to see you no longer sa bar review, but next year sa MCLE. If we see each other in the MCLE, just send me a private message kung online or come to me after the lecture and tell me, sir, I was as part of your reviewee sa bar review po. So good luck, God bless, and congratulations in advance. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much, Attorney Balmes, for your insightful and enlightening lecture. So ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today. This has been Kyle Roger Agadan, your host for today's Central Books Best Pre-Week Ever. God bless everyone. Thank you!